Michael Penix Jr. is insane. Plain and simple, insane. You know what else is insane? Many things. Let's start off with the fact that it's insane that the Huskies keep on winning one-score games. But guess what? They do. It's insane that everyone picked Penix and the Huskies to lose to Oregon and the Huskies to lose to Texas. But guess what? They won those too. It's insane that Michael Penix Jr. didn't win the Heisman Trophy. And today, well, most of the country outside the state of Louisiana would probably agree. It was insane. We'll find out if it's insane to pick against the Huskies in the upcoming national title game against Michigan, but I sure do think it is. You know what else is insane? Well, that so many people have Michael Penix Jr. outside of a top 5 and 10 in the NFL draft. That also might prove to be insane. There's many reasons why I think Penix should go much higher in the NFL draft and why so many teams would be lucky to have Michael Penix Jr. as their QB of the future. Now, before we get to those reasons on why I think Penix should go higher in the draft and what teams he would actually really help out the most, let's start off with some things about Michael Penix Jr., some attributes, some things that make him stand above so many other quarterbacks and what I think is the best quarterback in college football. And that would maybe to a lot of people in the whole entire theory of this video be insane, but it really isn't. He's outplayed every quarterback he's played this year. Bo Nix twice, who they wanted to give the Heisman Trophy to. But since he beat Bo Nix twice and no one wanted to give Penix the Heisman Trophy, they went and gave it to Jaden Daniels, who had, so many more touchdowns than Michael Penix Jr. 11 of those came against Grambling and Jackson State. All right, we're going to look back at this Heisman Trophy down the line, and no disrespect to Jaden Daniels because he is really good, and we're going to look at it as a absolute embarrassment for college football, especially with most of these, in my opinion, Heisman Trophy voters never, ever watching Michael Penix Jr. and the Huskies. So let's get to some of these things. And if you see me looking over here every little bit and moving things, just got some stats up here for you. So the Huskies, unheard of in college football, but they are 9-0 in one possession games. And they were the first team that's went 9 straight games decided by 10 or fewer points and won all of them since Division I was actually put in as a actual thing in 1973. That is pretty crazy, and that goes to the quarterback directly, in my opinion, because that means the quarterback is a leader. The quarterback can win close games. The quarterback knows what he's doing. It's plain and simple to me. That is one possession games, to me, come down to 2 things, and that's quarterback and head coach. Huskies do both really good, but Michael Penix Jr. has helped lead them to all of that. He's an elite thrower of a football. Watching that game against Texas, you could see, and most of the nation saw what us Husky fans have saw. And, I don't always do videos about my teams because there is some bias towards it, but this time, this is with no bias. I know a lot of people care about where their quarterback of their school ends up going in the NFL draft. For me, if he's not on the Seahawks, I'll root for him. I like the guy, but I'm not married to, former Huskies in the NFL. I get happy for them. It is a nice soft spot in my heart. But really, once, if he went on to be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, who I hate, I'm not going to be rooting for him to win every single game. So here's the thing. I think he should go in the top 5, but he probably won't even go in the top 10. Or maybe he's not projected to, but I'm saying it now. I'm calling it. After teams meet with him, after they win the national championship, which I think they do, he will go in the top 10. If you watch that game, you can see a couple things I really like about Michael Penix Jr. When the pocket collapses, he's calm. He feels like the calmest guy on the field all the time, and that is just so nice to see from a college quarterback who's been there 6 years. And 6 years means another reason why he should go higher is 6 years means he's pro ready. He's had 6 years. He's not a 2-year prospect who's 20 years old and going to come in and struggle for a few years. He is directly, in my opinion, ready to contribute at an NFL level. He manipulates the pocket. Like, he really does. The way he moves the pocket with him. It does help having a great offensive line like the Huskies do. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy, man, he manipulates a pocket so well. And those attributes, to me, directly translate to the NFL level. He translates to the NFL level with his deep balls, the way he moves the pocket, the way he has that whole calm amongst the storm thing. Another thing I love about it is, a lot of times you say quarterbacks give people 50-50 balls, right? They throw the ball, 50% chance to catch it, 50% chance not to catch the football. But with Penix, I feel like, especially with those top receivers like Odunze, McMillan, Polk, it's not 50-50 anymore. He puts it in a place where the ball is going to be caught 60-40, 70-30. He tweaks the luck of these receivers and changes the luck of these receivers. So to a point where it's not a 50-50 ball anymore, it's more of a 70-30, 60-40, like I said. I had a couple questions about those receivers, right? And he does have great receivers on the football field. But so will the NFL. He's going to be throwing to pretty good receivers in the NFL. Of course, I mean, having a trio of McMillan, Polk, and of course Odunze is maybe the best you could possibly have in college football. So he might not be lucky enough to have that exact like trio of receivers. But when you go to the NFL, you are going to have talented receivers. And if a team is smart enough, which a lot of NFL teams end up not being smart enough, if he could actually go ahead and get some good receivers along with him, he's going to put the ball in places where they can and only they can catch it, and he's going to be great. Another thing he does is he makes you worry about the whole field. He doesn't have like he's not one of those receivers who can only dump it off or throw a slant or throw a post pattern or throw it over the top. He does everything so well. And like, these are all things that contribute to NFL success. He's also a lot more versatile than we make him out to be. One of his concerns is the knee injuries throughout his career, and I do find those to be legitimate concerns. However, we saw it here in the last game in the college football semifinal against Texas that he was running the ball a lot more. I think a lot of what Kalen DeBoer and the coaching staff has done is basically protect Michael Penix Jr. from getting hurt. He had 4 knee injuries in 4 years at Indiana, and now it's been 2 straight unbelievably healthy seasons for the Washington Huskies. And with that, I think he's much more versatile than we think. He can run the ball a little bit better than most people think, that most people anticipate. And that's a really good attribute, especially in this NFL. And let's talk, before we talk about the last thing, which is the teams I think he's an upgrade for, because that's where I want to get to and why I think he's going to be a top 5 to 10 pick. How is it not a debate for him to win the Heisman at the end? Like, looking back at it now, I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. should have hands down won the Heisman Trophy and we shouldn't have had a conversation about it. And that I think I do think it's embarrassing, but I don't think it's like a huge sham. Like, I understand why Jaden Daniels won. But how in the world was it like minus 10,000 entering the Heisman Trophy ceremony? How was it not even a conversation that Michael Penix Jr. could win the Heisman Trophy? How was it not a conversation? That I don't think I'll be ever able to understand. If you watched college football this year, and I'm assuming most of these voters who voted so quickly for Jaden Daniels didn't watch college football or didn't watch the Washington Huskies by any means, how do you see him and not say, hey, let me at least make him in consideration for the Heisman Trophy? And I think that's really a problem. And I think it highlights, as I'm looking up here some stats for you guys, this highlights the problems with college football voting. All right, so let's get to the teams I think now that Michael Penix Jr. could possibly go to. And these are teams where I think he is, in my opinion, an upgrade for the quarterback position either next year or the year after. And that's going to be the New England Patriots. That's number one. And there's 11 teams, and I think it's, let me count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 teams for sure, 2 maybes. Let's start off with the New England Patriots. They're for sure. He's better than Mac Jones, and he's better than Bailey Zappi. Now, Mac Jones is an interesting case because he had a similar way in college where he had really good receivers. But I think Penix is better. The Steelers, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, they do not seem like the solution long-term in Pittsburgh. And I think Michael Penix Jr. would be better than both those quarterbacks. The Titans. Look, I know they like Will Levis or Will Levi, however you pronounce his name. But Michael Penix Jr., I think, is obviously a higher prospect. I think he'd be an absolute upgrade right now. I don't necessarily think they're going to be going into the offseason looking for a quarterback. I think they're going to give Levis or Levi, however you pronounce his last name, a chance. But he would be an upgrade. The Broncos, they're going to be in a market for a quarterback. Kind of weird. Imagine if he goes there after the whole Russell Wilson thing. Like, how many Seattle connections at quarterback would the Broncos have? The Raiders, and this one is one of my top on the list. I think he'd be a great fit for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he would actually thrive in that team, that town. I would love to see Penix there. The Giants, another one I think he would do well in because I don't think he would really be bad under the pressure of New York City. The Commanders, that franchise has had its own problems. I do not want to see him go there. I know they have a new ownership group, but just I don't know what it is about them. Don't want to see him there. The Vikings, I could see him go to the Vikings. Purple. He'd fit right in. And here's something really big with the Minnesota Vikings that I think would help Michael Penix Jr. out a lot. We talked about his wide receivers. Addison, good receiver. Justin Jefferson, great receiver. If he had those receivers, he will be successful in the National Football League. Saints, that'd be kind of cool. Sugar Bowl win in New Orleans. Go play in New Orleans. So the Falcons. The Falcons, to me, are the number one choice, the team that would fit him the most. There are so many weapons on the Falcons. He would go in, and I think he would instantly, the day he gets there, make them a playoff contender. And, of course, the Seahawks. Love to see the Michael Penix Jr. coming from the University of Washington to the Seattle Seahawks. I think it'd be fantastic for the city, and they have an inside look at him. So if they think he's good, I would not be surprised if they went out and got him. Now, there's 2 teams I'm putting in the arguments of maybe. That's the Bears, depending on what they think of Justin Fields. I personally think Penix will have a better career overall than Justin Fields, but he's a maybe in the argument of drafting him. And the New York Jets are also in the maybe. Would not be. I don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is planning to play after his Achilles comeback, but sitting a year behind Aaron Rodgers, maybe 2, and learning from one of the best quarterbacks of all time might be an actual ideal situation for Michael Penix Jr. So that's why, overall, I think Michael Penix Jr. is someone that NFL teams should look more seriously at. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope the Huskies also win a national championship next week. My name is George Arjour, part of a Sports on Tap network. I go by George on Tap. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment if you like this video. Really would appreciate it since you got all the way here to the end of the video. And most people don't hit the subscribe button because they forget. So I'm reminding you, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.